Hey everyone, Danielle here. Today is Thursday, January 2nd, 2025. My pronouns are she, her, and this is my channel about cross stitch. And today is my 2024 whip parade, end of year, beginning of year whip parade. I normally do my Flosstubes vlog style because I don't normally have the capacity to sit down here at the dining room table, have everything laid out around me, clean up after that. So I really enjoy doing my Flosstubes vlog style, but I still really enjoy doing a proper whip parade face-to-face. It has been a little longer than normal for me for a whip parade because I started doing Flosstubes in 2021 and I started doing them around my birthday-ish in September, and I started with a whip parade, and so I liked to do my whip parades on that sort of anniversary time. So because of that, I didn't do end of year or mid-year whip parades because it was just too close to when I normally did a whip parade. But in 2024, I actually started tracking my stitches. I have my little cheat sheet here today with my spreadsheet. This is only part of my spreadsheet and part of my tracking, but it's what is most relevant to today's video. But I started tracking my stitching. I track my stitches every day in a planner app on my phone. I write down the project I stitched on and how many stitches I did. And then in my spreadsheet, I keep track of project name, when I started it, although I've only this year started tracking like actual start date and actual finish dates. Not that finishing dates are a concern today. Before I was just tracking the month. I was very much more like cavalier about it. I track how many stitches are in the piece, how many stitches I've done, how many stitches are left, my percentage done on the project. And then I also track how many stitches I added in 2024. And so that is the information that I have to share with you on these projects, is how many stitches I put in 2024, and then basically how many stitches I still have left to do. And so because I was tracking stitches, I was like, I would like a full year to be represented in my statistics before I do another whip parade. And so that didn't make sense for me to do a whip parade in September/October. So I waited and I stitched all the way through the end of 2024 and have all my stats, and now we're here. I did not think I was going to get to film this video before I go on my little mini quick trip for a few days, but I was at a good stopping point on my whip, and I was like, I didn't really want to pick anything else up because I only have tonight. And so I just thought, because after I go to sleep, I'm gonna have one more sleep and then get up and eat some food, finish packing, and go to the airport. So I was like, I don't know that I feel like picking up something for just one night. So I was like, how about I film my whip parade instead? It may not get uploaded until after I get back from my trip, but it'll be filmed. So without further ado, just a little bit of information about 2024 as a whole. I stitched 88,505 stitches over 297, either 297 or 298 days out of 366. And it just kind of blows my mind that there's over 2 months of the year that I didn't stitch. So basically, like, I only stitched 10 months out of 12. In my defense slash fairness, I do not stitch when I travel, and be that for a big, big trip like I did in July when I went to New York for like 8 days, or be it for a small, like I go to the coast for a night, I do not take stitching with me. I find that I'm too interested in like being on the go all the time, explore, 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 walk, 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 that like when I'm in the hotel room, I just want to like lay on the bed and not do anything at all. So I don't take stitching with me when I travel. So those are a lot of my non-stitchy days, were travel days. And then, sometimes you're just in a bad sleep schedule, you didn't get enough sleep, so you just veg on the couch instead of stitch. But that means that when I did stitch, I averaged about 298 stitches per session. So that was my 2024. I will talk a little bit about plans after I show the whips. As far as, if you've been around my channel, I'm not really a planner, but I have some like ideas of rough, loose goals maybe that I would like to aim for. And if you haven't been around my channel, welcome. I hope you like what you see and you stick around. So I have all of my whips in this bin next to me, and frankly, it feels really nice that they all fit in this bin. Like, this feels really good. It's cramped, but I could squeeze a couple more in here. Not that I'm really planning to. I had originally wanted to have a new start. I was going to start Put a Bird on It by Modern Folk Embroidery. And then I was just like, you know what? I'm just not in the mood to start anything. I'm really focused on whips right now. I would like significant progress on these whips. You will see that a lot of these whips are on the larger side. They're not like BAPs by any means, but they're certainly like solid medium sized projects that have been around for a little while. And I would like to make significant progress towards whittling these down. Cause like, I have found that I love smaller things that I can sort of like start and finish in touching it, a couple of times, 2, 3, 4 times. Not necessarily, I don't mind having a few things that are larger scale, that'll take me longer to do, but I have too many of this size. But I love them all. I have culled everything that I want to pare down. Also worth noting for 2024, I did abandon or pause 4 projects. One was a Heaven and Earth design that I hadn't touched in a year and a half when the year started, and so very early in the year I decided to abandon that. One was called Snack Bar, which was the 2023 Acorn Gathering project. And I do love the project, but I didn't like the fabric, and so I knew I wasn't gonna stitch on that anymore. I did leave it fully kitted, so maybe someday I'll restart it. And then I had 2 whips by Nora Corbett. One was called Moonglow and one was Foxglove. I have UFO'd or abandoned Moonglow, and I have put Foxglove on pause. And by that, I mean, I did take it out of my whip list. I took it out of my pile of whips, and I do know in my heart I'm going to go back to it, but I'm not going to put it back on my whip list until I pick it back up and put more stitches into it. Basically, the short story is that Nora Corbett is accusing people of stealing her designs, copying her, and it's simply not true, and it's being damaging to other designers. And I personally feel like the way that she's going about it is like trying to create, sort of stir up or whip up her supporters into being damaging to another designer. And I am just more of the belief that there's room for everybody at the table. And so I don't like how she's conducting herself. And so I will probably go back to Foxglove, because it is a very like near and dear to my heart project. But I will never buy a Nora Corbett or Mirabilia pattern again. I will never stitch another one. And yeah, thankfully it doesn't break my heart too badly, because I'm not really a fancy lady stitcher. So anyway, now that we're 12 minutes into this, let me go ahead and start with my whips. These are in chronological order, and I will be zipping and unzipping bags, and nothing is ironed because A, this is not a channel about ironing. B, if I had to iron everything before I showed it, we wouldn't be here. And C, ironing your whips, unless you're gonna wash your project every time, you are just setting in the dirt and grime with all that heat. Anyway, that's my tangent about ironing. Also, make sure you have a drink. This is my cute new Gilmore Girls tumbler that my husband got me for Christmas. It's so cute. Last time I managed to do this in less than an hour, but we'll see. I have 15 whips total. Sometimes I can get very chatty. So this is Trans Pride Tapestry it is an image by Uncanny Kari, charted for cross stitch by D's 20 Stitches. I started this in June of 2021, although this is actually a restart. I restarted it in June of 2022. I didn't have very much when I restarted, but I keep my spreadsheet date as the original date. In 2024, I added 2,055 stitches to this project. It has a total of 21,544 stitches, and of that, I still have 14,212. It is on a 28 count Jobelin. The fabric is a mystery though. I got it in a D-stash. But yeah, you can see that basically this entire top, this is about the top third, is done. I love it. There are 3 unicorns in this series: Trans Pride Tapestry, Lesbian Pride Tapestry, and I don't know what that one, the last one's called, but it's based on the Progress Pride flag. And I do want to stitch all 3, but they're all humongous, and we'll see. We shall see. I'm definitely not starting another one though until that one's done. Next up, so I just call this Orca. This is a pattern that was charted by the Stitching Studio, but I no longer name the artist, nor do I show the, oh, that's what I meant to do. I will just edit in. I will edit in the pictures of what they're gonna look like. I normally, because I don't like to edit, I bring a tablet over with me so that I can show you the cover image of what the project's going to look like. But I did not bring the tablet over, and I don't feel like stopping this process going to get the tablet, so I'll just edit in a picture. I no longer name the artist. I no longer show the cover photo because there are cultural appropriation issues with this artist. So I just call it Orca. The picture that you're gonna see is a mock-up of what my stitched version is going to look like, because I took out some of the pattern because of the cultural appropriation. So I just call it Orca. Again, it's charted by the Stitching Studio, and I don't name the artist. And this is what it looks like right now. I started this project originally in July of 2021. I bought the project not the fabric, but I bought the pattern and the DMC at Threadneedle Street, which is just a little bit east of Seattle. When I was on a trip there, it was my first trip there after I started cross stitching, and I had gone on a whale watching trip where I got to see orcas in the wild for the first time ever, which was kind of like a bucket list item for me. And but then I did restart it probably the next summer, so like July, August of 2022. In 2024, I put in 1,980 stitches. The project is having a hard time seeing this far away. 7,505 projects, and I still have 3,103 stitches. This could potentially be a finish this year, but it will probably take me at least 2, if not 3 passes to get it finished, because even though that's not a lot of stitches left, there are a lot of fractional stitches. This fabric is not the easiest for me to work on, which, speaking of which, this is a 32 count Lugana from Color and Cotton. I think it was called Whimsy or Whimsical, and it doesn't show very well on camera, but there are little there are splotches of sort of pinky purple colors. But yeah, so I may work on this in January. This is kind of calling to me. And there is, of the 3,000 stitches left, there's like 12 or 1,300 stitches that are just one color in the water. So I may try to make good progress there, because while I do want to work on it and get some progress, like I'm just not looking forward to, this area has got a ton of fractional stitches. They're very hard for me to see what I'm doing because it's a very tight weave, and you have to be very careful about, you can't just pick whichever color you want to be the quarter stitch and which one you want to be the 3/4 stitch, like based on what color you're stitching with. You kind of have to stitch according to how it lays out in the pattern, so it's just finicky. You can't see the water all that well, but I think it'll be more visible once there's more stitched. But yeah, so I'm thinking about working in that water. And yeah, like I said, only 3,100 stitches. I do think this can be a finish in 2025. Like I said, I will talk a little bit about how I plan to try to tackle some of my you know, projects this year, what I kind of am aiming to do. This next project is called The Nutcracker by RATM. I started it in September of 2021. It was one of my birthday starts. I did 5 that year. I only have a couple left. I've either abandoned or finished the rest. In 2024, I added 2,513 stitches, and total stitches in this project, 30,611. I have stitched 5,531, so I have 25,080 stitches left. This is what it looks like right now. I was just working on this not too long ago. It was the last whip that I needed to pick up for 2024 to have touched all my whips. The white stitches do not show up very well. I don't know what I want to do about that yet. Also, there's some like off-white stitches that are not showing up very well. All the white and off-white is kind of in these little ornaments. So I don't know. But I do love this piece. I didn't touch this in 2023 because December plans like got derailed. So I was really glad to get back to it and realize that I do still really enjoy working on it and that I want to finish it because it is big. And if I don't love it, then it would have definitely been, I would have easily let it go if I worked on it and was like, not feeling this. I don't need to do another 25,000 stitches on it. Next up, this is called Spirits of the Dead. It is by Modern Folk Embroidery. Oh, that last, the Nutcracker was on 16 count Picture This Plus. I think the colorway was Regency, but I'm not sure. If you've been around a while, you know I do not tend to keep fabric information because I am lazy about that kind of information and it doesn't really matter to me that much. Okay, this is Spirits of the Dead by Modern Folk Embroidery, but it is the inverted version for dark fabric. The cover picture that I will have put in is the regular version that he had charted, which was meant to do on sort of a neutral color with black floss. And this is on a dark fabric with light floss. I started this in October of 2021. In 2024, I did 1,473 stitches. The project has a total of 9,694 stitches. I have stitched 7,297 and there is still 2,397 stitches to do. This is definitely going to be a finish because there are plans for this project. As you can see, this top part is fully done. I worked on the top part in 2021, 2022, and 2023. And then in 2024, I came down, brought the border down, started the quote in the middle, and started the bottom full bits. The bottom is basically full coverage. It just has negative space for the words. But this is going to go away into a round robin. Team 14 count is getting back together again for a third year in a row. We are going to do a whip my whip / start my start round robin. 2 of us have whips. 2 of us are gonna have new starts because they don't have anything on the go on 14 count already. And basically this was a concept that was born on a Michelle Bendy Twitch stream where you just have this project that you're just not, you know, for whatever reason, you're not like motivated to get it out and work on it. But like, if you could get some progress, then maybe that would like kickstart your brain to work on it. And same with the starts, right? Like sometimes you just get in your own head about the starts. And also a lot of people don't like starting things. I know starting things is not my favorite time of the project. So I found when I pulled this out and worked on it in October that this quote was really painful for me to stitch. It just must be something about the font that I don't like in my brain. And then also the full coverage at the bottom is just kind of boring. It's not exciting stitching at all. And given that's all I have left, I was like, this is a slog. So I decided to use this for that round robin, and there's so few stitches left that I really think that Team 14 count is probably gonna get it really close to a finish for me, but I am going to request that they, you know, leave me something to finish, like let me connect the border or something. So I will finish it myself, but it's gonna go away to get worked on by other people. In theory, it'll be back to me before the end of the year so I can finish it at the end of 2025. But if it's not and it comes back to me at the beginning of 2026, it'll be the first thing I do once I get it back. It will be to finish it. There's no real requirement of, and this is a 14 count fabric dyed by the Steel City Stitchers. It has sort of, it's not opalescent, it has some kind of like sparkly spray that they put on it. I don't really care for this fabric. Whatever spray they used was kind of sticky, so the fabric like sticks to itself. Not as bad as it used to. Also, it was supposed to be a 16 count, and I didn't find out it was 14 count till after I started the project. Thankfully, I have enough room. But yeah, there's not really like any rules. Like when we've done the round robins in the past, you know, we've been like doing 1/4 of the project. It is just literally stitch as much as your heart desires on it and then send it to the next person. Okay, next, we're in 2022 now. This is called Forest Home by The Blue Flower. I got this as a kit at Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit in 2022. So I am stitching it all called for, even though it has flosses in it that I don't use. This is really, I know I said this is not a channel about ironing, but like I do acknowledge that some of these are pretty painful to look at without set ironing. This is a 36 count XJU Designs fabric. I don't usually stitch on linen, but this project is going okay. In 2024, so I started this in September of 2022. In 2024, I added 2,348 stitches. The project has 14,038 stitches. I have done 4,071, so there are 9,967 stitches left. This year when I worked on it, I did that whole tree and beaver and mushroom and finished the waterfall and added in this border. This is the width of the project here. I was kind of paranoid, but I was fine clearly. And then this is the bottom of the project, so I'm fine both directions. Next time I work on it, I think I'm gonna put it on a 8x14 Q-snap because I think then I can fit the whole project in and go wherever well, not the 8, but the 14 I can fit the whole width in. Yeah, so, and I do think I wanna work on this in January as well. This is calling to me. I'm feeling like stitching on this. So the Orca and Forest Home. Oh, I haven't been telling you how far along, like percentage-wise, these projects are. I've been telling you like how much I have left. If you want to do the math in your head, you could. So let's catch up, and then I'll try to remember. Transpride Tapestry is at 34% complete. The Orca project is 58% complete. The Nutcracker is 18% complete. Spirits of the Dead is 75% complete. And Forest Home is 29% complete. Okay, next is, this is Beachcomber by Lindy Stitches. This was my other Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit kit that I got, although I'm not using the called for fabric. I switched that to a different fabric because that linen, I couldn't see the holes. It was a 32 count, so like smaller, higher, whatever. But it was just the color. It was a raw linen and the color and my eyes did not get along. So I switched it to an Aida. Again, started in September of 2022. In 2024, I did 2,206 stitches. The project has 9,191 stitches. I've done 4,574. There are 4,617 stitches left, and it is at 50%. This, in theory, could be a finish in 2025 if I focus on it, if I give it probably 3 or 4 passes, and I don't know if that will happen realistically. But here we are so far. This is a 16 count picture, this plus. I believe the colorway is Dapple. I call it Coastal Gray though, because it just reminds me of an overcast Oregon coast day. I am fully complete with this pattern down to the box. So everything above the box is fully complete except for beads. And then I had prepped the box before I went to Penwis in 2024. And all of the fill-in that you see so far, I did at Penwis. And then I had taken it with me to Stitch New England, but I did not work on it. So I will take this with me to Stitch North and hopefully do more fill-in. I think the fill-in is gonna be sort of the beast to get through. And then I feel like the rest of it could be easy. Yeah, it just depends on how daunting the fill-in ends up being as to if I could finish this in 2025. sneak peek of my plans a little bit. I'm kind of aiming for like anything that has less than 5,000 stitches left, I would kind of like to finish in 2025. And this has less than 5,000 stitches left. This zipper on this project bag sticks. Next is, this is called Spring Lilacs by Caroline Manning. I started it in May of 2023 for Manning May. In 2024, I added 2,166 stitches. The project has 6,889 stitches. I've done 4,478, so it has 2,411 stitches left. It's 65% done. It is on a 16 count Fortnite fabric, which they are not a dyer anymore. And this is where we're at. It's one of the baby ones. Wait, let's see, which way's up? Yeah, this way's up. Yeah. I had prepped, the reason why there are some like hard lines is because I thought this might be my Caroline Manning round robin for this year, but once we decided that team 14 count would stay together, this is not 14 count, so I had to start a new project. But that's fine because I really like stitching on this, and I think I may start another big one. I used to have a big one, but then I made a counting error and I only had like 600 pieces or stitches in the whole piece, and I would have had to rip out half of them. And so when I was like, I'd rather just restart it than rip out half of what I have. And then I was like, no, I don't want to restart that actually. So I gave up the big one in favor of the small one. But now that I've been doing the small one, I do think I may start another big one after this one's done, of course. And I could maybe finish this year. Again, one pass might be optimistic. If I could hit it twice though, then I could probably for sure finish this. Because again, there's only 2,411 stitches left. So it is in the running for finishing in 2025, hopefully. Okay, next is Move Forward by Modern Folk Embroidery. I started this project in June of 2023. In 2024, I did 2,612 stitches. The project has 9,025 stitches. I've done 4,064. There are 4,961 stitches left. It's 45% complete. This is being stitched on a mystery pink Aida. It's 16 count. I have no clue where it came from. I am doing the called for DMC. And this is, I need to cut this fabric down. This is where we're at. Again, because it's less than 5,000 stitches, I feel like it's potentially a finish in 2025. However, I really have been enjoying stitching the medallion. I am not enjoying, however, stitching all of these little fiddly bits. All these, all the vines, all the birds. As you can see, I've stitched way more of the medallion than of any of that other stuff. I basically have two completely not completed corners and one that's just barely, you know, like only maybe half or a third done. So even though the stitch count is under 5,000 stitches, this is not as enjoyable stitching for me. So I don't know that it'll be done in 2025, but it's certainly a focus, or one that is, I would like to get it done. Yeah, so we'll see. Next up is called My Home in the Garden by Hello from Liz Matthews. I started this in September of 2023. It was my birthday start that year. In 2024, words just totally left my head. In 2024, I added 2,913 stitches. The project has 15,944 stitches. I have done 5,256, and so therefore there are 10,688 stitches remaining, and it is 33% complete. I am stitching this almost completely called for. The called for fabric is 36 count, Not Another Sampler by Bestitch Me linen. I happen to have 32 count Jobelin, Not Another Sampler, in my stash, so that's what I'm stitching it on. I did buy all the called for Gloriana, but I made a couple of subs, so let me explain. I have nicknamed this the prettiest damn thing that I have ever stitched. I love it so much. It is stunning, gorgeous. Like, I just don't even know what to say about it. The two changes that I made is, so the A here, you can see that it is like a baby blue color. On the chart, like on the model cover, it looks blue. In actuality, it's like a 503 green color. I did not like that. I liked how it looked on the cover model being blue, so I picked a different Gloriana that looked more like the cover image. This yellow in the border is not the called for yellow. The called for yellow is actually this dark yellow. However, I felt like it was too dark for the border. Again, the cover image did not look that dark. And so I had already bought it. And then I bought the light yellow, which is like this yellow. But then I also went back and I bought this medium toned yellow. And so even though the chart only calls for 2 yellows, I am using 3. I'm using the medium one in the border, and then in the flowers, I'm just sort of using the flowers and the letters. I'm just sort of like picking and choosing and mixing and matching. But yeah, like I'm telling you right now, like, there's just no way that the camera can capture how beautiful this is. It's stunning. It's easily one of my favorite projects. So my plan for everything that is a birthday start is in September, which is the month of my birthday. I have 4, if you count Foxglove, which will probably come back into my whip pile. So if you count Foxglove, I have 4 birthday starts. Foxglove, the Nutcracker, My Home in the Garden, and then a project we haven't gotten to yet. So I would like to give each one of them a week in September, at least, like for this year, at least a week in September. And then I am not gonna have another birthday start until I feel like 4 is the max that I should have on the go, is so that way they can at least get a dedicated week in my birthday month. And you know, I don't care that much about birthday starts. And I only did one this year in 2024 because I was turning 40. That's kind of a big one. So I did it for the 40th, but you know, I got 10 years before I have another big birthday. So I'm just like, I don't need birthday starts. I would rather focus on the birthday starts that I have and give them good dedicated time. And then if I want one, I'll allow myself one after I've finished one of these. Okay, next project. We're doing good. This is called The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by the Witchy Stitcher. I started it in October of 2023. In 2024, I added 2,314 stitches. The project has 5,480. I've done 3,690, so there's 1,790 stitches left. It is 67% complete. It is on a 16 count Picture This Plus. I believe the colorway is it's Rube something, Rubius or Rubicus, something like that. And I see no reason why this cannot be a finish this year when I pick it up in October. I did a lot more this last October than I had expected to. I think I made a mistake and I wanted to isolate the mistake, but then I just kept going. Like, in order to isolate the mistake, it was over here in these branches, and I had to at least get the like cape of the horseman done. And then I just kept going and I stitched that whole horse. And also part of it was that if I got down that far, then I can pretty much do any color I want, or I can go anywhere that I want because I have places to count off of. But yeah, this is looking really good. I had been attempting to stitch Glendon Place's Sleepy Hollow pattern, and it just wasn't for me. It was too big, it was too complex. I didn't love the subject matter enough to stitch something of that size and complexity. It was basically going to be for my husband. And when I just decided I couldn't do it, I went in search of another pattern and I found this and he approved. So this is much easier. Yeah. So I think that can be a finish this year for sure. It was very easy stitching. If I can basically do half of what I did this year, it'll be a finish. Next, this is called 9-band Pride Sampler. We're now into 2024. So all the whips I've showed you so far were whips that I carried into 2024. These are all now whips that I started in 2024 and I am carrying them into 2025. This is called 9-band Pride Sampler. It is by the Craft Experimentalist. In 2024, I did 1,578 stitches. There are, I think my math might be wrong on here. Oh, you know why? That's because I said I did 1,578 stitches because I usually count, if I stitch things and then I have to frog the things, I still count the restitches as stitches. You know what I mean? Like, so I've only actually completed 1,380 stitches of the pattern, but to do that 1,380, I stitched 1,578, if that tells you how many issues I had with this pattern. Anyway, so I did 1,578 stitches. The project has 12,304 stitches. Again, I've stitched 1,380, so there are still 10,924 stitches to do. I am 11% complete. Oh, the Sleepy Hollow one, I was 67% complete. I am 11% complete on this pattern. I love this pattern, but I had a hard time getting into it, and clearly from that stitch count number, I made some mistakes and had to frog quite a bit. This is a Bestitch Me 20 count fabric, but I don't remember the name. Yeah, I've just been working these bands. Let me fold it down. As I work a band, I work the color into the border and into this little doodad border is annoying AF because I carry, and then of course, like, it'll get stitched over, you know, but like, look at this back, this is absurd. So like, I carry my floss, and then as I stitch another little doodad, it just covers that floss. So it'll be fine. But I had a lot of trouble in this orange band. I don't remember what went wrong, but I know that I had problems. And then I think there's something wrong. I don't know, but like, I can tell, like, there's still orange fuzzies on this. I had to definitely frog a lot. And normally I'm very much of the, like, if I have to pick it out, I get kind of like stubborn and like, this will not defeat me, and so then I'll put it back in. But I think I had to frog this twice, and then I was just like, nope, it's going away now. So I can tell that I don't get into something as much. See, now that I'm tracking, I can kind of tell what my habits are. And if I don't hit 2,000 stitches on a project when I pull it out, that is a sign that it's either kind of complicated or that I'm just not that into it. So we'll see. I like it. We're gonna give it this next year to see if I hopefully get into a better groove with it. We'll see. Okay, next up is Coffee and Eggs by the Artsy Housewife. I started this on, I'm finally keeping track of specific days now. On July 7th of 2024, in 2024, I did 3,230 stitches. Now this is a little weird because I worked on this project after, it's been my project since the 27th. So these numbers right here are reflective of where it sat at the end of 12/31/2024, but I have added more stitches since then. So the picture is not reflective of these stitches, or my project is not reflective because I've added another 1,000 stitches since these numbers, but I wanted these numbers to just be 2024 numbers. So in 2024, I did 3,230 stitches. The project has 10,034 stitches. Of that, I have stitched 3,230. There was 6,804 stitches left as of the end of 2024, which put it at 32% complete. However, like I said, I've added another 1,000 stitches, so that actually makes it more like I have about 5,800 or 5,700 stitches left, and it's about 43% done now. This is on a Roxy Floss Co. 20 count Panettone. I had bought the Roxy Floss Co. color pack or color conversion pack. However, I have not been satisfied with several of the colors. So some of these are the Roxy flosses that came, and then some of these I have subbed out to other colors. But yeah, this is how she looks right now. I'm really happy with this. She does have hands. They're just a little hard to see. I debated if I wanted to change the skin color too, but I think it's okay. Yeah, when I picked this up, I only had I had the whole branch done. I had the outline of the rainbow, and I had the body of the chicken outlined. So since I picked it up just on December 27th, and it's January 2nd now, and actually only worked on it through January 1st, I completed the chicken, filled in the rainbow, filled in the eggs. Oh yeah, I had the eggs outlined. So I filled in the eggs, and I did her hair and her face and the color of her jacket. This is going to be a gift for my aunt. Ever since this pattern came out, I wanted to stitch it, but I just didn't feel like she needed to live with me. But it gave me major vibes of my aunt. So after about a year, I sent her a picture and I was like, if you love this, I will stitch it for you. But if you do not love it, I will not be stitching 10,000 stitches for you. And she said she loved it. So I'm stitching it for her. Hopefully I can let her go when she's done. I think I can, but I'm very much enjoying stitching on her. It is just the right amount of blocky stitching for me. I don't get too bored. I can always kind of move to a different area or a different color if I want to. But I personally, I'm not a confetti fan, so yeah. Next up, we have 3 more projects. Next is the Twisted Rainbow Sampler by Northern Expressions Needlework. I started this project on August 18th, 2024. In 2024, I did 1,660 stitches out of 21,915. So there are 20,247 stitches left, which only puts me at 7% complete. I do like to get my projects past the 10% mark. This project and one other project are not. It is because they are some of my largest / newest projects. I had kind of thought about a goal for December would be to work on these two projects to get them past 10%, but I ended up working on other stuff, and that's fine. So again, 7% complete. This is a 16 count, picture this plus dusk, and I am stitching it in the called for DMC conversion. I've had this kitted up since like 2021. I legitimately was like excited about it for a long time, and it just was like never the right time to start it, but I finally started it, and here we are. This color is done, and this color is done, and this orange color is done, or this like darker orange, and now we're kind of on the lighter orange, almost yellow. Yeah, love it. I do not love that eventually though, my bands are not gonna fit in the Q-snap. Not sure what I'm gonna do when I hit that point. Because I do really love the color completing, and I love like getting the band done, and pretty soon the bands will not fit in the Q-snap. So I don't know, it'll be a different experience then. But I do love it. It'll be beautiful someday. Okay, I have getting a very precarious pile here. This one, I'm gonna show off the bag on this one. I don't remember who made it. That's part of why I don't show off project bags. I don't remember who makes them, but this was my birthday start for 2024. I did not want to do something like start 40 whips, God no. So I just decided that I would start a large piece. I did consider like a full coverage, but full coverage and I have not gotten along in the past. So let me read the stats first before I get distracted and forget. This is called Butterflies and Borders. The Etsy shop is called Daily Pattern Post. She designs a bunch of monochromatic designs, and they're large and beautiful. I started it on September 22nd of 2024, which is not my birthday. I decided that I wanted to start it early so that I could finish it up around my birthday, which is September 29th. I find that I like to stitch on a project for about a week, and I also like to I usually do my Flosstubes monthly, and so I'm kind of cyclical about my stitching. I kind of like to have wrapped up a project when I film a Flosstube, or when I'm ending a Flosstube, I should say, because like I said at the beginning, I do kind of clips, vlog style clips, and so I don't really like picking up a project, showing some stitches on it, ending my Flosstube, and then continuing to work on that same project into the next Flosstube. So I started it on the 22nd so that I could wrap it up by the end of the month. I did 2,204 stitches. The project has 26,071 stitches. So there are 23,867 stitches left. I am 8% complete. This is a 20 count fiber on a whim fabric in the colorway Orchid. For a second I went to say orchard. I don't know why. And okay, come on. Don't be rude, fabric. This is how far I got. I was hoping that I could fill the Q-snap, but I just didn't quite get that far. 2,200 stitches in a week for me is pretty good. Anything over 2,000 stitches means that I'm pretty into it. Yeah, I really love it. I think it's gonna be beautiful, gorgeous. I've been wanting to do sort of like purple on purple, pink on pink, like some kind of, you know, color on color project, monochromatic. So yeah, this fit the bill. It's beautiful. And so the reason why I wanted to show the bag, which, oh, this has a tag, was I was like, I'm gonna buy, this was just perfect. It's purple and is butterflies. The tag says that it was made by Lila P Creations. I don't know. If you really want to know, I could probably, in my Etsy purchase history, I could find it. But yeah, this last one, my last whip. There is really no good reason that this is a whip going into 2025 other than that I just had too many plans in December. But this is called the Home Alone Sal. It is by Hoops and Crosses UK. That is their Instagram handle. I'm pretty sure it's their shop name too, but I'm not entirely sure. I started it on December 1st of 2024. I did 1,155 stitches. The project has 3,270 stitches plus a lot of backstitch. So that means that I have 2,115 stitches left plus a lot of backstitch. But as far as whole stitches are concerned, I'm 35% complete. This is a Picture This Plus. I think the tag is on it still. Heartland, maybe 14 count. I don't know if I just said 16 count already, but it's 14 count, yeah. 14 count Heartland by Picture This Plus. I am gonna backstitch the words Home Alone, don't worry. I didn't know if it needed it. I didn't wanna do the work at the time because I'd already done a bunch of backstitch, but it needs it. So yeah, this is as far as I got. This is part one, basically. It says Home Alone, and then there's a border. There's the van, the paint cans, Kevin, exclamation mark, and his little jumper hat thing, and some snowflakes that are annoying to stitch, and they're in the whole pattern. You can see though, the Home Alone just ghosts too much, so I will backstitch it. Yeah, like I said, it doesn't have that many stitches total. It's just between all the backstitch, which is not my favorite thing to do, and I had a lot of goals in December. I just decided that I had to set it down, and then I would like to touch it once in the year before the holiday season and maybe try to get part two done. And then when the holiday season is upon us again, I could stitch the last part and have it be done in 2025. So that's all the whips. There are 15 whips. Like I said, when I pick up Foxglove again, I will add her back to my whip list. So it's like kind of 16 whips. I just don't want her on my whip list while I still feel really icky about the designer. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out of these 15 projects, I have 7 projects that have less than 5,000 stitches remaining. So that would be awesome to finish 7 projects. In 2024, okay, I hope I say this right because this is kind of complicated. Of things that are still whips, so like I brought them into 2024 or I started them in 2024 and I'm bringing them into 2025, I did 32,415 stitches on whips that are still whips. I did finish other whips and I stitched on things that I abandoned. So that means that I did put more stitches into whips than that number. Just the way that I track right now, I can't really get a good read on that information to get like a complete number. But that's, I feel like I could probably round that up to close to probably 40,000 stitches. If you count those other ones. So 40,000 stitches out of the 88,500 stitches that I did in 2024. I feel like I would like that number to be a little closer to half, which would mean, you know, closer to like 45,000 stitches into whips if my number for the year is 90. Also, I have, for all these whips that I have left, not counting Foxglove, there are a total of 143,183 stitches left in these whips. I think that I would like for that number to be closer to 100,000 by the end of the year. Now that means that anything that I start in 2025 that's gonna get carried into 2026, all the stitches for that project are gonna get added to that 143,000. So I don't really know. So it definitely doesn't mean that I have to put 43,000 stitches into my whips. It probably means I have to put more than 43,000 stitches into my whips. And considering I only did about 40,000 into my whips this year, you know, we'll see. But I think I would just like, I look at it that way to kind of help keep me in check as far as what I'm gonna start and carry into the next year. You know what I mean? Like, part of why that number is so high is because between August and September, I started 2 projects that between the 2 of them have nearly 50,000 stitches. So, plus I have Transpri Tapestry, which still has 14,000 stitches to be stitched. The Nutcracker that still has 25,000 stitches to be stitched. Forest Home and My Home in the Garden are about 10,000 stitches that need to be stitched. As well as the 9-band Pride Sampler. So, all that to say, I don't think I have one project that I'm considering starting in October that is definitely large. When I get the pattern, it's paper pattern, I'm gonna scan it to see kind of what I'm dealing with for stitch count wise. But I think other than that large project, I probably shouldn't start anything else that's like super large, because I do still have a bunch of stuff that has between 10,000 and 25,000 stitches left. So that doesn't feel great. So my main goals are, like I said, I would like my still to stitch number for all my whips to be a little bit closer to 100,000 by the end of the year. And I would just really like to focus on whips. And I feel like what I might do is, because again, I sort of stitch very like, I stitch on something for about a week. I like thinking about things in terms of 4 weeks in the month. I would like to perhaps every month pick 2 of my whips to focus on, to spend that week on. And I know that kind of sounds like similar to Whip Go or something like that, but I cannot, a board cannot tell me what to do. A wheel cannot tell me what to do. I cannot tell me what to do. I thought I might like plan out, you know, January I want to work on these, February I want to work on these. But I just know that I can't even tell me what to do. It just kind of has to be organic, like whatever I want to work on at the time. But my thought is, if I give 2 of my whips attention every month. Because I only really have, there's 15 whips, but again, Spirits of the Dead is gonna go away to be worked on by other people. So really it's only 14 whips. That means I can basically touch everything twice. And some of these bigger projects definitely do need to be touched twice. If not 3 or 4 times would be ideal. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, is that if I could touch everything twice, at least twice, then those projects that have less than 5,000 stitches on them could probably be done. So that would be 7 whips that I would be finishing, which would feel amazing. And then all the ones that have those higher stitch counts, like 10,000 to 25,000 stitches, I feel like those numbers would be reduced by between 3,000 and 5,000 stitches. So that would feel really good. And that would still leave me 2 weeks of every month to either, I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna start Stitch for Pride 2025 when I get my fabric. I have my floss, I don't have my fabric. So that would leave time for Stitch for Pride if I'm gonna do it again. It would also leave time to like do a start and finish, or start, you know, something that's smaller that I can work on for a week, come back to it again later in the year for a week. I definitely don't want to like not do any new starts. I can't even tell me what to do. Like, I will not tell myself what to do. So if I say not gonna start anything new, no, like we're not gonna stick to that. So now that I've been tracking, the tracking has been very motivating to me to get these projects done. So that's basically my plans for 2025. I want to have a heavy focus on existing whips, hopefully have 4 to 7 finishes of older whips, or, you know, existing whips. In 2024, I had 22 finishes, but only 4 of those were from previous years, like what I brought into 2024. The other 18 were starts and finishes that I started in 2024 and finished in 2024. Yeah, so those are my plans. Those are my whips. Got through this in just a little over an hour, which I feel like isn't bad for how many whips there are. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please feel free to stick around. And like I said, I normally do this vlog style, so I just kind of turn my camera on, show you what I was stitching, and put together a bunch of clips over between 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how much footage I have, and then load it up to YouTube. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, doing all those good YouTube things. And I will see you very shortly. I think, actually, probably my Flosstube will go up before this. And then, like I said, this might not go up until after I get back from New York, because now I have to edit because I didn't bring the iPad. So yeah, see you probably in a few weeks, probably closer to the end of January. All right, bye.